Stephen Motlop's massive move to Port Adelaide headlined the trade action as players started to make their moves on Friday. Motlop agreed to join the Power after the Dockers and Bulldogs also agreed to a surprise trade. Here's how the day of deals unfolded. What's mind made up? Port Adelaide have all the luck during this trade period it seems. Tom Rockliff signed on yesterday, Stephen Motlop today, and now reports from the Herald Sun indicate Jack Watts has decided to make the move to South Australia. Watts is yet to officially announce the decision, however sources close to the Melbourne Demons utility are adamant that his mind has been made up. A trade with the Demons would still need to meet their requirements. The club is reportedly chasing an early second-round pick in exchange. Currently holding picks 30 and 33, the Power will begin working towards bringing the 26-year-old to the club on Monday, after it was stated Watts would take the weekend to clear his head before making an announcement. After finishing the 2017 AFL season in 5th place, the Power were overrun by the Eagles in their home elimination final and have retooled in a big way during the trade period. With Tom Rockliff and Stephen Motlop already on board, the services of Watts would put the Power into early premiership favouritism and build the pressure immensely before the first bounce of the 2018 season. Motlop makes massive Port move, a massive result for Port. Source News Corp Australia. Stephen Motlop has agreed to make a sensational move to Port Adelaide through free agency. Port Adelaide has confirmed Motlop has told the Cats he wants to accept a deal with the Power. It comes after the Crows reportedly tabled a massive offer to the Cats star, trumping the money the Power were able to throw his way. Despite the Crows' massive offer, the 26-year-old has put his family connections at the Power ahead of his salary demands. The Power and Motlop have reportedly agreed to a 4-year deal which will see the Cats star remain a Port Adelaide player until the end of the 2021 season. Port list manager Jason Cripps has confirmed on the club's website Motlop's manager has given them the thumbs up. Port have lodged paperwork with the AFL, giving Geelong 3 days to consider whether they will match the offer, the Power reported. Stephen Motlop has nominated Port Adelaide as his club of choice in 2018. Hooray where Port Adelaide FC at PAFC October 13, 2017. Motlop signs 4-year deal with at PAFC pending at Geelong. Cats matching which they want at Trade Radio. Cane Corns at Can Corns October 13, 2017. Motlop's family in Adelaide. Port Adelaide made the hardest charge at Motlop, so no surprise he ends up there. https://t.com to fight Neil John Ralph at Ralphie Herald Sun October 13, 2017. The Power also snatched Brisbane Lions gun Tom Rockliff through free agency earlier in the AFL trade period. Their free agency bonanza marks the Power as the big winners of this year's trade period, even if they are unable to land Demons star Jack Watts in a trade. The news is another devastating blow to the Crows, who have already given up star defender Jake Lever and are still fighting a battle to retain star speedster Charlie Cameron, who requested a trade to the Brisbane Lions earlier this week. Crows supporters this week: he can't believe Lever went for the dollar pouting. Also, he can't believe Motlop didn't go for the dollar pouting. Tom Richardson at Tom Richardson October 13, 2017. Geelong's list manager Stephen Wells has said publicly the club will not match Motlop's deal with the Power and will let the out-of-contract star make his move immediately. According to reports, the Cats will receive a free agency compensation draft pick in the second round, which would likely give them pick number 3 in this year's draft. Geelong yet to get official paperwork on what Motlop compo is. They expect it to be pick 35. Want match that? https://t.com to fight Neil John Ralph at Ralphie Herald Sun October 13, 2017. Sard definitely heading to Johnson's star Adam Sard is a certainty to be heading to Essendon this trade period, according to his player agent Marty Pask. He said the Suns and Bombers are still squabbling about which draft pick the Bombers will cough up in exchange for the 23-year-old. Essendon at the moment holds 2 second-round picks. They've also got a future second round, so there's enough there. It's just a question as to what Gold Coast want, Pask told AFL Trade Radio. He'll be going to Essendon. The talks are ongoing at the moment. Suns in secret Ablett meeting. Gold Coast and Geelong have held secret talks on Friday to complete a trade deal which will see the superstar return to Geelong. Ablett has requested a move back to the Cats, and the Suns have previously said they are open to letting Ablett leave this trade period, despite the dual Brownlow medalist remaining under contract. Just spoke to Jason McCartney re Jake Stringer. He doesn't believe it will be awkward if Stringer stays at Western Bulldogs, a very possible scenario. At 9 News Melb, Corey Norris at Corey Norris 9 October 13, 2017 Lions Cameron offer revealed. Brisbane has reportedly offered Adelaide pick number 19 at this year's draft in exchange for letting star forward Charlie Cameron walk. The speedster requested a move to the Lions earlier this trade period, but remains under contract with the Crows until the end of 2018. Cameron's manager Andrew McDougall told AFL Trade Radio his client is unsettled in Adelaide and wants to move to Brisbane immediately. McDougall on Cameron deal. They've Lions put a first-round offer to Adelaide. We think it's strong for a former rookie. Trade Radio, NAB AFL Trade Radio at Trade Radio October 13, 2017 McDougall I can tell you that Brisbane has offered the Crows pick 19 for Charlie Cameron. Trade Radio, NAB AFL Trade Radio at Trade Radio October 13, 2017 Giants fold in Fremantle standoff West Side. Source: Getty Images. Giants star Nathan Wilson will be traded to Fremantle as early as Friday afternoon, according to reports. The 24-year-old, who joined the Giants as a 17-year-old special access selection, has reportedly already purchased a house in Perth and his move is expected to be announced soon. AFL Trade Radio reports the Dockers have been forced to beef up their offer of a future second-round draft pick for Wilson. The number 40 pick the Dockers will receive in exchange for letting Hayden Crozier move to the Western Bulldogs is reportedly the key to satisfying the Giants. It was reported earlier in the trade period that the Giants had knocked back the Dockers' first offer of their second-round pick in 2018. Fox Sports News senior AFL reporter Jake Niall says the Giants have demanded a pick somewhere between number 15 and number 20 in this year's draft before they will let Wilson walk. It means the Dockers may have to do some wheeling and dealing to trade picks with a third party to meet the Giants' demands. McDougall on Wilson: that could happen this afternoon, but probably over the next couple of days. They're just working through some picks. NAB AFL Trade Radio at Trade Radio October 13, 2017 Dockers in at AFL House and armed with pick 40. Expect Nathan Wilson to become official this afternoon at Trade Radio. Mitch Cleary at Cleary_Mitch October 13, 2017 Suns football manager has cost club stars. Former Suns star Campbell Brown says Gold Coast football manager Marcus Ashcroft must be sacked if the club wants to build towards success. The Hawthorn Premiership player says Suns players don't trust the head of the football department and believes some players have walked out of the club because of how Ashcroft operates. There's one thing I believe Gold Coast needs to do, and they need to make one more decision on a bloke. That's Marcus Ashcroft, Brown told Send Breakfast. HE's been there for 9 years now and I don't think HE is the right fit as football director up there. If they get rid of him, they start fresh and they move forward. I know there's a lot of players up there that don't trust him and have left because of it. If they're fair dinkum as a football organisation and they want to start again and be successful, HE's one guy they need to get rid of. Bulldogs swoop on Dockers star deal done. Source: News Corp Australia. Hayden Crozier is now a Bulldog. The former Fremantle Stars move to the Western Bulldogs was confirmed on Friday afternoon, with the AFL receiving paperwork from both clubs. The trade will see the Dockers handed picks number 40 and number 82 in exchange for Crozier and the Dockers' fourth-round pick in the 2018 National Draft. Confirmed: Hayden Crozier is a Bulldog. Dockers get pick 40/82 in exchange for Crozier, future fourth-round pick at Trade Radio. Mitch Cleary at Cleary_Mitch October 13, 2017 Stars mega trade Movath man in the middle. Source: Arpadam Cooney has put forward the boom trade he believes can get deals done for the biggest names on the hook this trade period. Cooney believes Adelaide will have to jump first to spark the mega trade, which he believes will see the Crows keep a first-round draft pick while also picking up Carlton's Bryce Gibbs and Stephen Motlop through free agency. The Stephen Motlop mega deal. No, this is a doozy at Adam Cooney 17 has thrown this up, provided Motlop nominates Adelaide. Now Trade Radio pick.twitter.com Obicture, NAB AFL Trade Radio at Trade Radio October 13, 2017 Crows, Power make final pitches to Motlop. Adelaide and Port Adelaide have both appeared in organised interviews on AFL Trade Radio where both clubs' list managers spoke confidently about their chances of landing Cats free agent Stephen Motlop. Crows recruitment chief Justin Reed promoted his club's track record of getting the best out of players from rival clubs. "We've shown in the past with the likes of Eddie Betts, Sam Jacobs and Tom Lynch that we can bring guys like that into our program and even help take them to a new level," Reed said. "We spent a fair bit of time with him earlier in the week and we think he'll really add to our program." The Power reportedly can't match Adelaide's salary offer to Motlop, but Port List manager Chris Davies said his club remains confident Motlop will be attracted to their rounded recruitment pitch. "We think we've already put a compelling case for Stephen to come to our club. We think we're in the ballpark from a dollars standpoint and we're pretty confident with what our pitch has been so far," Davies said. Reed also announced the Crows are interested in recruiting Essendon's number 6 pick in the 2015 National Draft, Aaron Francis. The 20-year-old is contracted at Essendon until the end of 2019, but he has been linked as potential trade bait in Essendon's ongoing recruitment of Adam Saad and Jake Stringer. Francis, who grew up in South Australia, has reportedly told Essendon he wants to return home, with both the Power and now the Crows both interested in a trade for the swingman. "Why Dogs will be filthy. Jackie Stringer is unwanted by the Bulldogs." Source Essendon great Tim Watson says the Western Bulldogs will be second-guessing themselves after seeing the Bombers trade pick 11 for GWS midfielder Devon Smith rather than Jake Stringer. The 2016 Premiers put Stringer on the trade heap after saying he doesn't fit in at the club, and the small forward has reportedly nominated Essendon as his preferred destination. The Bulldogs wanted a high first-round pick for Stringer but have since softened and said if the right deal can't be done they will keep him at the kennel in 2018. Despite it being obvious to everyone that's a scenario that won't please either party, the problem for them now is they can't get that pick, and they can say, "We want to deal with someone else, but Jake Stringer wants to go to Essendon," Watson told Send Breakfast. "There has to be a significant shift before they can do a better deal." How would the Bulldogs be feeling that deal was put to them? They could have taken pick 11 and then shuffled a trade. They sit on that, they prevaricate on it, and then it's whizzed away on them and it ends up at GWS. How would they be feeling about that? Would they be feeling filthy on themselves because they didn't take the deal, or would they be filthy on Essendon because they went and did that 11 pick with somebody else? A Melbourne legend Gary Lyons says if the Bulldogs took too long to do a deal with the Bombers then they've squandered a first-round pick. It depends. If Essendon said, "Listen, if you don't move on this in the next couple days, we need to get going," he said, "you snooze you lose. First in best dressed." It is a competitive market. Stringer is almost the most nervous player at the moment. Impey's emotional response to Hawthorn trade. Jarman Impey has given an emotional response to his trade from Port Adelaide to Hawthorn on Instagram. "Almost a year ago my dad, my best friend, my one supporter, the man who single-handedly raised me left this earth," Impey wrote. "Unfortunately my best football left with him. I'm sorry that I wasn't able to give you my best during the season. Sometimes the pressures outside of football can get a bit much. My perspective on life has changed, and as important as football is to me, family will always come first. I'm sorry if anyone is disappointed by this decision, but I can assure you this decision has nothing to do with PAFC as a club. I can't fault this club. They've done more for me than sick I could ever ask. It's a great place to be. It is simply what I believe is in the best interest of both of us. I'm ready for the new challenges ahead of me and feeling very grateful that Hawthorn, the football team that inspired me growing up, has seen the potential in me and welcomed me to their club. Thank you PAFC for getting me through some really hard, dark times and for bringing me back home. I will always be cheering for you. I have without a doubt made lifelong friends during my time here in Adelaide, especially my teammates who I will miss tremendously. I'm ready to take on football and make the most of the job I'm so lucky to have. See you all next year. Much love, Jars X." A post shared by Jarman Impey at Jarman Impey on October 12, 2017 at 205 MPDT. Confusion over Gibbs Crows situation. Lover out, Gibbs in. Source Apth Jake Lever trade has given Adelaide the ammunition, but the Crows maintain they won't attempt to pull the trigger on an AFL trade for Carlton star Bryce Gibbs. After a quiet start to the trade period, paperwork for the first 3 trades was lodged with the AFL on Thursday. Nearly 2 weeks of acrimony came to an end when Lever officially became a Melbourne player. Greater Western Sydney sent Devon Smith to Essendon and Port Adelaide traded Jarman Impey to Hawthorn. The Bombers remain a key player at this year's trade period after they sent pick number 11, with a swap of later picks, to the Giants for Smith, with the club still hopeful of landing Adam Saad and Jake Stringer. But Adelaide has 4 first-round draft picks over the next 2 years following the Lever trade, number 10 and 16 this year in its own and the Demons' first call in 2018, with the likelihood of another first-round pick coming from Brisbane for want-away speedster Charlie Cameron. Speculation is swirling that the Crows will make a last-ditch bid to land Gibbs. There's still some noise there, but nothing has changed from our point of view, Crows list manager Justin Reid said of a potential move for Gibbs after the Lever trade was lodged. "We'll get on with the next fortnight and see how things play out." After last year's failed attempt to trade for Gibbs, Adelaide were widely expected to have another crack at the 28-year-old, but Reid said club and player had moved on the opening day of the trade window. However, Port Adelaide great Kane Cornes has a different take, suggesting Reid may be holding some information back. "At Kane Cornes, I can tell you Bryce Gibbs wants to come to Adelaide. He's not saying it because he's learnt from last year, but he wants to." Sports Day essay at Sports Days are October 12, 2017. Essendon great Matthew Lloyd agreed with Cornes yesterday, and Herald Sun journalist John Ralph told Sen Radio the Crows would surely make a play for Gibbs if they continue to stockpile trade picks. Kane, would Carlton accept pick 10 for Gibbs? Lloyd: "Yeah, I think they should." NAB Trade Radio, NABAFL Trade Radio at Trade Radio October 12, 2017. Reid may be playing his cards close to his chest, but the Crows almost certainly aren't done with trade proceedings. The club has an offer before Geelong free agent Steve Motlop, who they hope to lure ahead of other suitors Port Adelaide and Gold Coast. Cameron's camp have been steadfast in its desire to secure a move to the Lions. Reid has maintained his poker-face stance, that Cameron is a contracted and required player next year, but put a slightly different spin on the situation when he spoke to Adelaide radio station 5R on Thursday night. "He's a required player, but in speaking to Charlie and his management, we're certainly very clear on his situation as they are on our position," he said. "Brisbane have had some dialogue with us, and obviously you've got his mum, dad and brother living in Perth, so there's been some strong interest from other clubs as well. We'll see how that plays out." AAP